Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Mastermind. I'm Dan Sissick. I'm here in Las Vegas, and we are in the book, Whatever Rises, Love That, Love Revolution That Begins With You by Matt Kahn. We're in the last chapter 13, I think it is. Yep, 13. And we'll be starting with page 201, the slingshot effect of ascension. But before that, I'm going to let everybody jump out and introduce themselves, and then I'm going to ask Catherine nicely if she would please read for us. Again, as always, she does just such an awesome job.
Lori Emmons in Denver.
Hey, this is Jason Robertson, Tampa Bay, Florida. Great to be here.
Oh, can you hear me?
Go ahead and introduce yourself, Samantha.
Oh, sorry, I must have been muted when I said it. Good morning, it's Samantha in Indiana. All right. Computer problems this morning.
Is that everybody? Okay. This is Catherine Clement. Good morning. All right. So we have two little short sections here, and then we're finished with this book. And so we'll read this and close this out and take I'm guessing we're going to take our usual 2 weeks in between. And I'm not sure when we'll announce the next book yet, but we're going to finish this one up. The slingshot effect of ascension. During this time of awakening, if you wish to explore the highest reality in existence or traverse the outer limits of the universe, you build up the momentum to skyrocket across galaxies by staying grounded in your body. Being grounded is the ability to feel safe. Feeling safe occurs when your heart has opened. An open heart is the end result of providing the kindness, care, support, and attention that only you were designed to offer yourself. No matter how often you seem lost in the ups and downs of circumstance, playing out the righteous, victimized, entitled, or needy inflammation of a human ego, you are the highest destiny of divinity, made manifest into form as an evolving modern-day spiritual master. Whether you are attempting to restore order in your everyday life or trying to figure out a way to find joy and fulfillment wherever you go, each moment represents a timeless meeting where the light of your divinity encounters its innocent nature as a celebration of eternal love. As you bring kindness and care to your personal interactions, you are able to recognize the vulnerability within you as a collective outcry of an entire planet. With love leading the way, an entire species no longer starves for attention and can usher in spiritual renaissance of cosmic proportions. As a way of anchoring this new vibration during the most exciting time in human history, please repeat the following healing mantra. I acknowledge throughout each feeling, thought, belief, and action that while my experience may be rooted in an individual perspective, I accept that in reality, I'm having an individual experience of what is unfolding throughout the totality of all. I acknowledge that what appears to be an individual journey is an entire planet being collectively healed, awakened, and loved as I am. I may perceive myself as an individual having a unique personal experience. I'm just seeing some chats here. Hold on. Hard to hear. Can't try to speak up. Sorry. I may perceive myself as an individual having a unique personal experience, but I am the all that is within it. while appearing human in form, I am experiencing the spiritual rebirth of an entire planet, which, in my experience, is depicted as the evolution of a person. Even though each person demonstrates the ascension of an entire planet, I accept that there are other dimensions where the evolution of one is being experienced in slightly or even drastically different ways. This means I am not just awakening in one way, I am awakening in all ways. If I wish to explore the other parallel dimensions where this one is embodying the ascension of a planet in infinite ways, I don't have to travel into outer space to discover those other dimensional versions. They are already here, decorated uniquely as other people. I acknowledge everyone I see as the eternal one I am, even if it feels as if I'm only one among many. I accept this is merely one perspective within the vastness of infinite views. No matter how anything seems to be, I can rejoice that I am transforming this perspective for all just by allowing it to be on the receiving end of my loving attention. I also accept that others are here to transform additional aspects for my evolution as well. Together as one, we celebrate the victory that has already been ensured since the beginning of time for the liberation of all. Through this transmission, you have been infused with the courage, passion, and clarity to boldly step forward into the world, inviting your heart to be the inner navigator that guides you beyond the boundaries of time and space. As you explore a world of endless potential, you are destined to remember love as the essential answer to any question or concern. Throughout your journey, you are not discarding individuality in the name of unity. Rather, you are awakening the truth of unity by reuniting your mind and heart in holy matrimony. When mind and heart are one, you uniquely celebrate your spiritual evolution on instant replay as the growth and expansion of each individual. Whatever arises, love that. During the most incredible time in Earth's history, you can support the expansion of consciousness by celebrating your innocence and cherishing the ones you love more than ever before. This is a time to speak to those you encounter as if it's the first time you have ever met. It's a chance to know that as an individual walking this earth, the joy you are able to feel, the peace that emanates within you, the love you are here to cultivate, and the excitement you radiate gives all beings greater access to the magnificence of their immaculate potential. Now is the time to come out of hiding and let your voice be heard by confessing your true nature as the glory of divine innocence in human form. Whether you whisper silently into the vulnerability of your heart or shout at the top of your lungs from every rooftop, you are the living proof that all is well. You are the source of life's eternal witnessing and the orchestrator ensuring that love always has the final word. As your evolution is revealed, there are 4 powerful words to carry with you wherever you go. Whatever arises, love that. As tendencies to fight, defend, and negotiate fall by the wayside, every layer of righteousness, victimhood, entitlement, and neediness dissolves out of your field. One auspicious moment at a time, an open heart gifts you with masterful relationships, artful communication, and an alignment of perfection that no limiting belief can ever comprehend. While it may seem as if this is the end of our journey together, it could only be the beginning of a brand new adventure. May all be blessed, uplifted, liberated, and reborn now and forever by the love that you are. and so it is.
Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate you reading again. As always, you do such an awesome job. Any thoughts or ideas from what we just read?
I think we need to have like a, I don't know, a 2-minute get your thought together after we read, because everybody has to like think about it for a second, unless you're figuring out what you want to say while I'm reading, which can happen too. If something really catches you.
Yeah, same for me. I was kind of distracted with something else that was personal, but the part in the beginning where this in the slingshot effect where he was talking about down a little farther where he was talking, I think it was in that section, talking about where how talking about the whole planet awakening as a whole, but then yet there's parts where it may be individual or different. That part kind of, I'm still trying to put my thought around that, how it you can be experiencing it the whole, but still at the one level, and that kind of I'm still kind of. So if anybody has thoughts on that, that might even help me a little bit.
I have really struggled with keeping that idea of whatever arises, love that. When things bombarding you from all different directions and you just sit there going, what next, But I am so enthralled with this author. Trying to be a good example of dealing with all of this and being able to respond positively and in a healing way can be very challenging. I don't know, I'll just leave it for now.
Yeah, thanks for your thoughts on that. I was just rereading. I like this part whether you're attempting to restore order in your everyday life or trying to figure out a way to find joy and fulfillment wherever you go. Each moment represents a timeless meeting where the light of your divinity encounters its innocent nature as a celebration of eternal love. And to me, that speaks back to where, like in the beginning, when it's talk about, loving ourselves and going, starting there to emanate that out. And then it says, as you bring kindness and care to your personal interaction, you're able to recognize the vulnerability within you as a collective outcry of an entire planet. And maybe that goes along with what I was trying to say earlier. And maybe it's that resonating of that love that we put out. And maybe that's where that all joins together and that energy joins together to maybe, I guess, form that collective outcry of the entire planet. Not sure, but those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I kind of I like that, and to me it sort of tells me that we can see a bit of ourselves in everyone else out there. That even though we aren't going through the same struggles, the process is this kind of the same for whatever struggles we're dealing with. In that we have to sort of that it's a good thing to be able to be in control of our emotions and understand where these energies are coming from, and in order to keep ourselves in the right mindset and the right alignment, so that we are able to receive love as we are also giving love, and receive the love that we are giving out into the world as well. And also to be able to just have the positive impact on our environment in the world, and be received in a positive way, and have a more of a positive understanding while we do that. Though it's certainly difficult to look past our personal troubles, but this does give us the ability to sort of see past it, understand it a little more, and realize that we do have some capability of giving ourselves at least the best opportunity to have the most enjoyment we can while we're going through our journey, by cultivating a positive, loving awareness for ourselves and for others, I think.
Now, as I go back and look a little bit more at this healing mantra that he talks about, it says, I acknowledge throughout each feeling, thought, belief, and action that while my experience may be rooted in an individual perspective, I accept that in reality, I'm having an individual experience of what is unfolding throughout the totality of all. I acknowledge that what appears to be an individual journey is an entire planet being collectively healed, awakened, and loved as I am. And then the rest of it down below. And maybe I'm going to, I don't know, I'm going to throw this out. And as I look around in the world today, well, I see maybe a little bit of aspects of this in some small ways, but in other ways, it feels like there's just so much chaos out there, and there's so much disconnection, maybe that's the best way to put it, between the whole planet as a whole. To me, it's, that collective awakening just seems to be, it's hard to sense that and feel that, I guess, in a way. And maybe that's me just in my still trying to understand this a little better, and maybe somebody else's perspective might help me see that a little differently, or I'm just not totally seeing it or feeling it.
Well, I think that we can certainly see, with the world in a lot more of a all-encompassing manner with the digital age that we live in now. So it's a lot, we can certainly see all the contrast between the way different people do things, and it's much easier to see all this stuff. And so it can certainly seem like there's more chaos than there's ever been, but I think that it's just much easier to see it, and instead of when I grew up, we were pretty much confined to our city or a town or a neighborhood's news, and now we can turn on our phone and see what's going on anywhere in the world, practically. So we're just much more aware of it, and I think that those who are seeking out any form of enlightenment or um, new knowledge towards what we're discussing, I think those people are pretty much keeping things to themselves and on the down low. So I'm not going to see a whole lot of that unless you seek that out in particular. That's just my take on it.
Yeah, and you also have to remember that, and it says it in one of these things here, but we've said it before. Um, everybody is on their own journey. Everything that is happening to them is as planned and perfect as everything that is happening to you. Even though it may appear to be chaos, it's still serving in huge ways, or it wouldn't be happening. And that's why we have to love everything, because when we start putting judgment on things, for one thing, it makes us miserable and like disrupts our energy. And for another thing, I mean, we have no idea how that is serving. So we really have no business judging it, do we? And we can fight against it if we want to, or we can, rail against it or whatever. And believe me, I do sometimes. But in the end, I surrender and I love it. And if I would just do that from the beginning, I'd save myself a lot of angst and depression and anxiety and all of the anger, all of that stuff. And, it's hard to do sometimes. And uh, when, but that's why we keep trying, and we don't, we have to remember to love ourselves and not get upset with ourselves for judging too, because that's a pretty human thing to do, and we are humans. I love this one here. Even though each person demonstrates the ascension of an entire planet, I accept that there are other dimensions where the evolution of one is being experienced in slightly or even drastically different ways. This means I am not awakening just in one way, I am awakening in all ways. If I wish to explore the other parallel dimensions where this one is embodying the ascension of a planet in infinite ways, I don't have to travel into outer space to discover those other dimensional versions. They are already here, decorated uniquely as other people. I love the way he worded that, but this goes back to what you mentioned in the beginning, Dan, is, I guess you have to assess your beliefs. Do you believe that you are more spirit than human as far as in huge totality? Um, our spirit part of us is so much bigger than that are and more powerful, than our human part is what I'm getting at. So if you believe that, and then if you believe that God is love and um, has our best interest at mind and in mind and takes care of us on a daily basis, and we may go hungry for a few days, but we get fed eventually because we're still here and we're still talking, right? So many things we take for granted on a daily basis. So if you believe even those two concepts, and then if you believe that we are energy, energy is not contained This is a human body, but our energy is not contained in this body. It's not like we're a vacuum sealed bag here where our energy can't escape. Energy is very fluid, and that's why we're all one. That's why we're all connected. We're literally all connected because we're all this big energy field, many energy fields kind of like bumping up against one another, all in their own universe in a way. It's very cool when you think about it. And then when you think that we're not only doing that here in this, on this earth, in this reality, we are also doing this on other realities in other dimensions at the same time, which is just mind blowing. But when you think of the immenseness of that and what is actually happening, it helps you not get so bent over little things happening here sometimes, So when you think about everything that's going on to everybody and how all of that is serving God, or otherwise, why would we be here? I mean, it's really fascinating and humbling and exciting. And when I get too focused in, which is kind of how I look at it, I get too focused in on a problem instead of the solution. Really just pulling back helps tremendously, and remembering the the immenseness of what is actually going on here.
Great thoughts, Catherine. And oh, sorry, Jason, go ahead.
No, I didn't. I wasn't trying to say anything.
Oh, okay.
I will piggyback off of that.
Go ahead.
It's a concept I've recently discovered with a light worker that I've been working with, that if we take this perspective of, if we zoom out, way out there, we are just a little smaller than a speck of dust when you consider everything and how it all works together, that this whole existence is even here and functions so amazingly well, and how one thing affects another, and to really keep it all in perspective and not take these little things so seriously. Because trust me, right now, a lot of people aware of my situation, just as an example, with the elevator broken, being disabled and stuck on the second floor, I could be very stressed out, having panic attacks or something. But with everything I've been through, just to learn, somehow you have to love whatever it is, like you were saying, Catherine. If you look at it like it's the end of the world, I'm gonna die, what am I supposed to do? Like, my friends are all in an uproar. Oh, that just can't happen. And 40-year-old elevator that wasn't well maintained, and expect it to be fixed overnight. Who knows? It's just one of the examples. Like my roommate, back in the blizzard of '82 here in Denver, he had a truck that he was able to get around through the snow when people couldn't even get to the hospital. And he took a pregnant woman to the hospital. And 40 years later, we're over here at Subway, and there's a young man out there, and he started telling his story about how he was born. And Merrill was right there, and he said, you know what? I'm the one that took your mom to the hospital. He was like, what? And it just crazy situations like that. You just never know.
Wow. Small world.
I was going to say that, picking back up of both what you and Catherine said, that, I do agree that our spirit or our soul or whatever is the bigger component and the thing that carries on outside of this life, that we exist here on Earth. So I do believe in that, and I believe that my soul goes on, on into, however, and with that, and I believe that we do our energy, because we've talked about before how you can walk into a room and you can feel the energy, whether it's up, way upbeat or high energy, or you walk in and you feel the low energy, depending on where you're at. So, we do feel that connectivity through that. It's just funny how we don't remember that, and we kind of cut ourselves off and think that we're our own little island, so to speak, and that, when we get into those really low moments, we forget that we can, in essence, kind of zoom out, get connected back in with others through our energy and through that. And I think we forget that. And that's why people sometimes have a hard time pulling themselves out from that low, or that, lull, or that down energy cycle that they're in. And like, for me, I have certain things that kind of bring my energy up. Jumping on this, Saturday morning mastermind, doing that. When we do that, my energy tends to go up, and other things I, do. And then other things tend to, my energy level drops. But, but there are times when I'm alone where I can really recharge my energy level and get it back up. So that way, when I go out, I can give that energy out and hopefully give that love out, in that sense, and radiate that out, to others to help bring their energy up. But then at the same point, sometimes that in that process, I get drained, and I need to, find that energy that will then recharge me. So it's interesting how this all plays together, and how, going back to like what he says, whatever rises, love that, and learning how to take that ebb and flow and use that as a catalyst for getting back to that center and that equilibrium, I guess, so to speak, if I can put it that way. But I think that's some of what he's also trying to get us to understand too.
One of the things that kind of I thought was interesting in that section was the one little sentence where he talked about kind of treating people as if it's the first time you've ever met. And like when you see if I can just read that sentence there. It was very short, but he just like mentioned that as a said you can support the expansion of consciousness by celebrating your innocence and cherishing the ones you love more than ever before. This is a time to speak to those you encounter as if it's the first time you have ever met. It's a chance to know that an individual walking this earth, the joy you are able to feel, the peace that emanates from within you, the love that you are here to cultivate, and the excitement you radiate gives all beings greater access to the magnificence of their immaculate potential. And I thought that was a really interesting way of kind of looking at things, of just, because we kind of all get stuck in these, I don't know if you would call it a rut necessarily, but you get kind of stuck in your expectations and your thought processes about all the people that are in your life that you see every day and that you interact with every day, and to try and open yourself up to seeing something maybe you've never seen before in another person. And I think that takes a little bit of effort to just stop and not have automatic thoughts or automatic feelings about what a person is going to say or do or act or etc., and just kind of opening yourselves up just to see something different in another person, and loving whatever is already there that you are aware of, but that maybe you're actually experiencing the people in your life in a narrow way because of all of our expectations and thoughts about that person. And maybe we can see something new and love something new about the people in our lives. I thought that was just really an interesting concept.
Well, yeah, what if we were to, anytime we got into those situations where we encounter somebody, but when we encounter them, we take that moment to say, okay, what new thing can I take from them or glean from them or love about them or learn about them to help me see them in a more full dimension of who they are, rather than defaulting, like you said, into, oh, well, now I got to deal with them. They're always like this, or they're always this, and because that's not, going back to whatever rises love that, we're just defaulting and we're putting that preconceived. So we're already kind of blocking that channel to maybe seeing them in that more love light and in that more full spectrum, and learning something out, and then something maybe that we learn about ourselves too out of that. And that, oh yeah, I really do have the capacity to open up and love more and give more love out, and to help that ripple out more to others. Interesting thought, Samantha. I like that you brought that up.
It's interesting how our experiences, our expectations, and our energy and all of that, if we can look at each moment as a brand new experience and see what you can add to it to improve it, or make it better experience for everybody involved. It's just more mind-blowing stuff all the time.
And that's an idea too, is to look at each moment, like you said, or each experience. Every day we go through a lot of the same routines, right? We kind of react the same way and do the same things. But if we kind of look at each thing that happens in our lives every day in a new way, or open ourselves up to seeing something different than what we see every day also in just our daily actions and activities, what would that look like?
Exactly. That's what I was talking about. That's what I meant to mention, that how everything can seem so mundane, do the same thing every day, all the time. And I like when we get out and take the scooters, I take a different route all the time. So see something different or experience something different, see who I can meet, or, oh, look at this new flower over here, or it's just so hard to not get stuck in the rut of the mundane and create and experience something different.
I'll be honest, if I'm honest, in some cases I like my mundane. I kind of I get up at my same time pretty much every day. I get out, I go, I do, but in that mundane routine, I should be looking at more of the opportunities even within that for those new opportunities, because doing Uber and stuff, I have different opportunities each time to see differences instead of just, okay, like I'm doing another, okay, here's another pickup, here's another drop off, I could maybe, even look at that as a new and different opportunity and take the negative and the positive both and learn from both and not let the negative draw me down or make me like, oh my god, and get caught up in that vicious cycle I can get caught up in sometimes. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, why did they give me that review, or why did look at it and say, okay, well, what can I learn from that or take away from that as much as I can remember about it and move forward and move that, because then I can move in that positive energy and that positive love and look at it and see it from that point of view. And I think in our everyday Monday, I'm sure, Samantha, you have certain things you do kind of on a regular basis for your business, and sometimes you do it on automatic autopilot. I do some of the things I do on autopilot. It's just part of, but if we kind of flipped off that autopilot mode and really took that time and moment for each thing, we might get more out of that, and it might make our days even better. It's hard to turn off that autopilot sometimes because that's just how we can get through the day and get things done. But I think sometimes there's times where turning that off and being more conscious and engaged, which I think we all agree here is something more that I think we would all like to do and be more intentional about. And I think that's something that is something to think about.
It's interesting to think that my bad experience is a good experience to someone else. And there are so many unlimited possibilities of reactions, interactions, and it's different. So that's how you can avoid the mundane, maybe.
I think I find this life much too fascinating to be mundane. um, but I mean, I totally understand what you're saying, and I think we really need to, especially in these days and times, like you were talking about, Jason, technology, I mean, it's an amazing thing, and thank God for it, because we wouldn't be here talking right now. But I think it's important to like shut a lot of that down around you sometimes, and or even completely, and just um, not have your phone on 24 hours a day and not be like plugged into the matrix, so to speak, all the time. It's important to unplug from that and because the human body is an amazing thing. I mean, just just the human body in itself fascinates me so much, like the workings of it, that I don't think I could ever get bored because I could just fall back to thinking about that. But but it's it wasn't designed to deal with 24/7 stimulation, 24/7 electricity lines around us emanating uh, energy that is not necessarily at a frequency conducive to our health. Um, it wasn't designed to deal with the stress of surviving in this world today or the toxins that it has to deal with in the food, the air, the water, everything around us. Um, and so I think you need to give your body a rest, from those things all the time, because that can be very draining to your energy. But one thing I want to say about energy is that if you can embrace your best friend, which is your higher self, if you could embrace and learn to share the energy from that side of yourself, let let your higher self energy flow through you instead of trying to only rely on your human energy. If that makes any sense. I don't know if it does or not. But, you got your human energy and then you got your higher self energy. And when you, or at least when I, um, come head to head with a task that is just impossible, and this happens frequently, um, I let my higher self deal with that. And that can be on a mental level, on an emotional level, or even on a physical level. Like if I need to do something physically that is just seems impossible, I can harness, that's how I'll say it, I can harness that other energy to do that for me. And it's almost seems effortless to my human self. And I don't know how to describe that. I guess maybe, if you've seen movies where a spirit embrace comes into a medium's body and they just kind of, you can see the spirit like enter the medium's body and they sit up and they kind of like change and their voice changes and their face changes and everything. They're like that person that they're channeling. Well, that's kind of like how you do with your higher self. You just bring that in and really embrace that. And that's also the way to love all those people and situations that your human self doesn't want to love.
Amen, sister. I totally agree with that because sometimes it has to be my higher self that allows me to get through everything I need to get through. And people will look at me like, I don't know how you do it. And I said, I don't know how you don't do it. So going inside rather than reaching out for all these things and trying to bring it in to myself, it doesn't work. have to trust yourself and love that inner child, which seems to be like shrinking, where my higher self is so expansive. Has to be able to deal with some things.
Yeah, I'm going to throw this out, and it's towards the end of the first part of the last two sections that we read, but it's in the part of the slingshot effect of ascension, and it's in the last paragraph. He says, throughout your journey, you are not discarding individuality in the name of unity. Rather, you're awakening the truth of unity by reuniting your mind and heart in holy matrimony. When mind and heart are one, you uniquely celebrate your spiritual evolution on instant replay as the growth and expansion of each individual. And I think that kind of goes back to both what you, Catherine, and you, Lori, were saying of how going to relying on in this case, you said your higher self. For me, God, spirit, that, or getting into that and relying on that. I think that's where we find that sense of ability of true love, true energy, true power that then allows us to be able to continue on and trust that we'll come up with that solution rather than trying to do it in our own energy here as humans. And I think that's, something we forget, and that, the more we can rely on, for lack of a better way of saying, your higher self, or God, the universe, or however you want to put it, it does, I think, in some ways, help with that stress and taking some of that off of your human self. It's just learning and understanding when and where to do that and how to be able to do that more often, so that way you don't struggle and stress here in this realm so much. Oh, we're just a bunch of chatty Cathys this morning.
Well, we're at the top of the hour, so how about we just share our final thoughts on this book as a whole? What do you guys think about this book? The final wrap up.
You start. You brought it up.
Right on. That's cool. No, I thought it was good. I love the reminder of just, just as things come up, it's just sending love to them, whether that's emotions that you have coming up inside yourself, or, things that happen in our lives. I mean, all these different things of just kind of just meeting those obstacles or challenges or whatever with love. And when we were reading in the end of this, I was just sitting here trying to define, what exactly is love. And I feel like that is just an openness to whatever. It's just being open and allowing and surrendering, if you will. um, I think sometimes we feel like love should be like this overwhelming feeling of something, and I feel like more often than not it's more of just an open feeling of just being open to anything. And because when we're open, we get to experience more, and when we get to experience more, then we feel more. So but the feelings can go either way. They can go in any direction. We can feel up feelings, we can feel down feelings, we can feel tense, we can feel all these things. And when we just love, we are just open to feeling whatever it is. And I think that's what he's trying to kind of say to us is, love whatever arrives, or whatever arises, love that. It's just being open to the experience of. So that's my thought.
I'll jump out. Oh, go ahead, Jason.
Oh, yeah, I really like what Smith was bringing up, and I have to agree that, how it, doing that is, it, allows us to be open to experiencing the world and everything in a better way. I also really like the idea of love kind of being neutral for ourselves, that we don't have to really give of our deep essence when we love what arises. We can just really kind of appreciate it, and like you said, be open to it in a way, and that if we do want to really send out warm loving feelings, that we do that through our own heart, so that we experience that first and foremost, so that it's not such a draining thing to be, or doesn't have to be perceived as such a draining thing, that, oh, we have to go out and love on everything in the world when we might feel like the world is so negative, but that we have the ability to focus our emotions, calm our emotions, increase our emotions, that it's all there for us, and that this book really touches on how we can cultivate that awareness of that energies and our egos within ourselves, and see it within and without, and through others, and recognize that, so that it doesn't take a toll on us, but we recognize it for what it is when we perceive it, and maybe we're not ready for it at the moment, but that we are only affected by it in a positive way or a neutral way, because now we are armed with these tools and this understanding and knowledge of a different perspective and way to really make sense of things. So I'm really appreciative for all the things. There's so much we've learned in this book, for me anyway. So thank you so much for the opportunity to discuss it with you all. Appreciate you.
Sorry, my computer glitched for some odd reason and threw me off, and now I'm back. I'll throw my stuff out. I'm gonna, agree with some of the sentiments that both Samantha and you said, Jason. But I'm gonna go in a little different vein. I do believe that love is that, kind of sense of, and I'm gonna go more with it's calm and clarity, and that just kind of level, where you're not up here, you're not down here. It's just kind of that calm. And and for me, it's more being in connection with, maybe for lack of a better word, my higher self, or I look at it as God in the universe, and being there and letting that flow through me, which then encompasses everybody else's energy and all that's there, but also learning that everything that is happening does have its time, place, and reason, and going back to accepting that and learning and growing from that and accepting it, and letting that be what centers me a little bit more, and allows me then to love me more, and be able to then again radiate that back out to others, and push that forward, and trying to understand more about this collective. I'm still trying to understand this collective thing. I get it, but I don't get it at the same point. you know, because I understand we're all energy and we're all connected that way. You know, sometimes that, you know, the physical humanness kind of gets in the way of that. But I believe that, you know, through what he's, you know, talked about in this book, and what I picked up is that I don't have to let every little thing that happens define everything either, that it's a growing and helping me to be better version of myself, to get to that better version of myself that I want to get to. So that's, I think, what I'm gaining out of it and learning and moving forward with.
Yeah.
I have very much enjoyed reading and learning, spending time with you guys every week. At least the ones that I made it here. Such an expensive process to put on my mind and my heart, and believe that it's totally helping me get through all of this. And no, life is not mundane, but people's routines can get mundane. So don't let that happen. Love you guys.
Angel, did you want to say something about how you felt about this book?
I mean, I agree with what everybody else is saying. I mean, it's definitely opened my mind up about loving what arises more, and just kind of, you know, accepting it a little bit more willingly than what I have before. So, but yeah, I agree with what everybody else was saying, and I don't have that process right now. I don't have the train of thought. It's not there, but I agree. I liked it. So yeah, that's all. Yes, Dan. It definitely has let me love what arises with the boys too. Yes, just kind of like take it in, and it's okay.
You're so cute, Angel.
Thank you, Lori. Yeah, that's my thoughts.
Well, I've enjoyed this book. I had read it before, and of course, I have met Matt in person, and the book, Matt is such a poet. The book is so eloquently written. It's almost like, I mean, it's just fabulous. And it is very expressive. You know, it expresses him, like he is as beautiful and gentle and eloquent as this book is. Like I don't know how to, I'm sure that Lori really understands that, because I know she's following him now, and she gets what I'm trying to say, which I'm not saying in an eloquent way, but
You
that's
always
okay. I
do,
love that
Catherine.
anyway. I really love that. Oh, thank you so much, Lori. And I'm so glad that you love him, because I do too. I think he's amazing. And his book is, this one is, you know, I felt it gave some great insights on many, many different subjects. If you think back through the book and everything that we've touched upon. And he's given these mantras, which are so beautifully written. And I think the mantras help people kind of reframe their brain a little bit. And he reminds us of just how amazing we are, like how he reminds us of the big picture. And, but in a way that anybody, I think, can get, can understand. And if you don't get it the first time around, read it again and read it again and read it again, because more and more things will kind of settle in and open up. But his reminder just to love everything, I mean, it seems like such a simple, it's such a simple statement, and yet it's such a profound statement, sometimes difficult to do. But like I said before, even on those difficult to do ones, in the end, you do surrender and love it. And that's what gets you out of it. So like, we know this and we do this, but it's such a great reminder to do it sooner. And maybe from the beginning, that would be great. Not always easy, but then he reminds us to love the one who's having trouble loving, which I really love, because we tend to want to beat that one with a stick, right? Like, stop thinking that way. don't have that thought or whatever, don't feel that way about that. That's not a good response. Like, the only way to get through anything pretty much is to love it. So, and I love that he reminds us just how perfect everything is. And we can relax into that and know that we're doing our part and everybody around us is doing their part, and we're all working together, even though it may not seem like it. If you watch the news, you wouldn't think so, but
That's why I don't watch the news.
exactly, just don't watch the news.
I think
figure
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just think without putting the man Matt on a pedestal or worship him or whatever, I believe he's very divinely guided and activated. So we all can accept it. I love you
Yes.
all. Thank you.
Love you too. Yeah, he is definitely connected. And he reminds us that we are too, if we'll allow ourselves to be, you know. So I love you guys. I guess someone will talk about what we're gonna do next.
So with that, we are now finished with the book, Whatever Arises. Love That by Matt Kahn. I love Revolution That Begins With You. A great book. I think we all agree on that. We'll be probably taking a couple weeks hiatus to kind of figure out which book we want to do next. We will definitely probably, as we get some thoughts about different books and get maybe a poll up. I'm not sure what way we'll go, or if we'll just decide and get one. But we will definitely put something in our Facebook Mindset Mastery Collective group to let everybody know. But you can go to Facebook, like I said, Mindset Mastery Collective, to like, share, and join our group. If you want to be on the panel, you can always join us on the stream and share your thoughts about whatever book. We welcome more people to come on. The more, the merrier. The more thoughts and viewpoints. Not all of us have all the answers, and sometimes somebody else can come up and bring something up and give a viewpoint that's not the same as ours, but it can be something that can help us all. So with that, we also have our YouTube channel, Mindset Mastery Collective. You can go there, catch replays of all our Mindset Masteries that we've done over the last 7 or 8 years, however long we've been doing this now. And then we also have our website, mindsetmasterycollective.com. Again, has all the information how to get involved and join and be a part of all this. We look forward to seeing you guys the next time when we come back with hopefully a new book and some more things to talk about to help all of us grow in whatever way the direction we decide to go with whatever's next. So look forward to that. Love you all. And